Great evening, everyone. So, the little, I don't even know what it's called. I honestly don't care because I don't believe in any of it. But the little model replica thing that was supposedly re entered Earth's orbit and was catching fire on the CGI screen, I believe that was actually a cargo plane, probably a C 130. Dropped it out at 2,800 feet because they have to tell you the truth. But the parachutes didn't open, you know? If it was a real mockery. You know what I mean? If they weren't using CGI to cover it up. If this is how I would do it, because I know this is how they've done it in the past. And then are they still putting people in there and expecting these parachutes to be able to safely land in the water? Because if there was somebody or four of those astronauts inside of that damn pod and it fell at 2,800 feet and the parachutes didn't open, they probably have severe damage or they're all, severe brain damage and bodily injuries, or they're probably all dead. So, but if it's all just CGI and they're still acting, why does it take 3 hours with shitty camera footage, waiting for scuba divers to get in there and put on orange costumes and come out and be like, "Hello, we made it." These are all my opinions, but it doesn't matter. It's all a mockery, complete mockery, and to my father's creation, to the truth, to the original creators and their inventions and designs. Um, like I said, I think the prohibition on alcohol was not about consuming alcohol, it was about controlling what kind of fuel you can use to power your vehicles and your farming equipment. And go look into the history of how evil Rockefeller is and all of his intentions were. Go look at the true intentions of Rudolph Diesel and Henry Ford and Nikola Tesla and George Washington Carver. That's why I'm saying Governor Casey Putsch and Lieutenant Governor Kim Georgeton for Ohio. I believe in it. And like I was saying, look at this cool ass logo right here. I designed this in my mind and I had an illustrator make it happen. It's part of my Sacred Garden logo. But yeah, I believe one day we could have Sacred Garden or SG filling stations. Sacred Garden, Sacred Guardians. And we're going to use Rudolph Diesel and Henry Ford's, Nikola Tesla, George Washington Carver. We're going to use all the original creators' designs. And Governor Casey Putsch, he knows all about that. He has a vehicle called the Omega car that gets more than 104 miles to the gallon, almost 105 miles to the gallon, I'm pretty sure. And he got, what was it? Less than 5 seconds. I think it was like 4.61 for 0 to 60 on his Omega car. Nice ass car. And it gets 104 miles to the gallon. He built it himself. It runs on diesel, and Diesel, Rudolph Diesel, the original creator, the original designer of diesel engines, was intended to run on grain alcohol and to be lubricated with vegetable oils. But I'm sure there's probably certain vegetable oils that you can't use because when it gets cold, they'll turn solid. You know what I mean? Because I've used olive oil on my for power steering fluid in the summer, but it got cold overnight one night and then it chunked up, so I had to wait for it to wait. I had to wait for the for it to warm up again, and then I cleaned it out with because I didn't have money for. I was just a long time ago when I was doing horribly, but anyway, natural vegetable oils to lubricate the engines, natural fuels to power the engines, even in companies and fabrication industries. And then eventually go back to natural plastics and natural hemp fibers because factory workers who work, especially in plastic factories. I'm praying for all the plastic factories to convert to natural hemp plastics and to have their machinery and their equipment um, powered and lubricated naturally and the way it was intended, especially inside of a factory. It wouldn't matter what the temperatures were, you could always keep the fluid warm enough to power the equipment. But if you're using vehicles, then obviously you'd have to figure out what natural vegetable oils and what natural plant oils or whatever, however they're going to do it, would have to stay liquid even under cold temperatures. But so they should have called that little model pod, instead of integrity, they should have called it deception. Because no one in NASA, none of the actors on television have any integrity. And that's why I'm praying for Ohio. I'm praying for Governor Casey Putsch and Lieutenant Governor Kim Georgeton. I'm praying to speak it into existence that we will set the example in Ohio on what proper government is, what their role is, how they're supposed to serve the people, you know. And then start bringing Governor Casey Putsch's inventions and designs into reality, into mass production for the people. You know what I mean? He has the coolest watches, nicest cars, his airplanes too. I guarantee you he knows he doesn't have to lie about the fuel that, like Vivek Ramaswamy, he's never done anything. He just uses tax write-offs to spend taxpayers' money for this airplane that he uses to travel inside of Ohio, and it takes less than 3 hours to travel anywhere in Ohio. So it makes no sense. He's a Silicon Valley enthusiast, George Soros scholarship recipient. His parents are foreign nationals that came here on H-1B visas. He owns several companies that are horrible. ROIVANT, Roivant Sciences, Return on Investment Sciences. Go look into them. Doesn't care about making medicine, healing, or curing. All he cares about is money and profits. Him trying to say that Ohio will be Silicon Valley 2.0 was code word for them stealing your land and making these data centers. And what are the data centers going to do? They're going to raise your property taxes. They're going to steal all of your land. They're going to steal your natural resources. So then the cost of utilities and water supply and all that will go bad. And then they're going to be tax-free for 20 years. Are you kidding me? Governor Casey Putsch and Lieutenant Governor Kim Georgeton already have an action plan going. We're going to investigate all the fraud and expose it and recover our funds, especially if we can cut them off and know where they're getting, and every recovered fund, according to the Department of U.S. Treasury, we could get up to 10 to 30% bonus for exposing and retrieving those funds. So Governor Casey Putsch, I believe, like he said, he wants to end property tax for private homeowners. That's a beautiful thing. He's got so many things that he wants to do, but when I heard that, compared to what Vivek Ramaswamy wants to do in his campaign and his ad and the way they lie to you, those aren't real people. Those are puppets that only know how to talk to CEO talking heads. That's all they know how to talk to. They don't know how to talk to regular people. Casey Putsch has the Genius Garage. He's been awarded 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. All of his students come there on scholarships. He mentors them. They work for GM, Ford, many car companies, including Tesla. They work for Lockheed Martin. They're literally geniuses working with him, trying to help and figure out real engineering, real inventing, real engineering, real inventing, real welding, real inventions, practical. He's from Ohio. He graduated from Ohio State. His whole family's from Ohio. Generations, more than 200 years. Probably longer than that, but yeah, so point of the story is all dreams do matter, and if you're going to use deception, especially with your fantasies, then it's not going to work. But if you resonate in truth and understand how God created this world, I promise you we're going to start in Ohio, and That's a cool ass logo. Yeah, that's my logo. I'm probably repeating myself. I am repeating myself. But yeah, that's the SG filling stations. It'd be beautiful to have, different grades of fuel, hempoline, grain alcohol from diesel. You could have some other recycled materials that were turned into biodiesels. You could have electronic alternating current charging stations. You could have that doesn't even make sense. Alternating current just needs a little bit of supply and it powers itself. I don't know. We would have to figure out how to bring Tesla's inventions into reality the way that Nikola Tesla invented them. But yeah, I think in a world where I see the future and where I believe it's gonna happen if we eliminate the people who are lying to you. So we could start with NASA. All right, vote for Casey Putsch and Kim Georgeton in Ohio before May 5th for the primary. Just like in I think in Iowa it was where they anyone who was talking about all pro AI data centers and this and that and lying to you about how we're going to lower your taxes. No, they're going to lower the taxes for the AI data centers. So they took a few of their sentences and turned it into one sentence and said, we're going to lower your taxes. But they're actually talking about the data centers for 20 years and then raising and destroying your land, your natural resources, da da da. Don't even want to talk about it. They did that over there. Anyone who thought that was cool, they're not even going to be elected or not even on the ballot anymore. So, Casey Putsch and Kim Georgeton for Ohio. Ohioans for Ohio. God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.